Have you ever felt like you're just not good enough? Like no matter how hard you try, you're always falling short? This is the story of a boy who felt exactly that. A boy who failed every single exam until one day everything changed. Meet Ethan. In high school, he was the kid everyone had written off. Teachers would shake their heads, whispering he'd never make it. Friends started to drift away, quietly leaving him out of their plans because they thought he was going nowhere fast. He wasn't just struggling, he was the poster child for academic failure. Every report card felt like another nail in the coffin of his future. He was the invisible boy, lost in a sea of strata students and sports stars. One cold Tuesday afternoon, it happened again. Ethan stood frozen, staring at a bright red F circled on his history test. The letter seemed to scream at him, confirming every negative thought he had about himself. He felt a familiar knot tighten in his stomach. Later that night, the shouting started. He could hear his parents arguing in the living room, their voices sharp and laced with disappointment. The subject, as always, was him. "What are we going to do with him?" his mom cried. "He's just not trying," his dad retorted. Each word was a punch to the gut. Feeling suffocated, Ethan slipped out the back door and walked to the empty high school bleachers. The cold metal bit through his jeans as he sat down, pulling his jacket tighter. He leaned back and stared up at the vast, star-dusted night sky. For the first time, he felt completely and utterly lost. The weight of everyone's disappointment, of his own repeated failures, was crushing him. He thought, maybe they're right. Maybe I really am just a failure. The thought was a cold, hard stone in his chest. He felt tears welling up, a mix of frustration, sadness, and sheer exhaustion. He was tired of trying and failing, tired of being the family's biggest problem. But as he sat there, under the silent, watching stars, a different thought flickered to life. It was small, almost a whisper, but it cut through the noise in his head. What if I'm not dumb, he thought. What if I just haven't found my thing yet? It was a simple question, but it felt revolutionary. What if the problem wasn't him, but the system? What if his mind just worked differently? That single thought didn't magically solve all his problems, but it lit a tiny, defiant spark in the darkness. For the first time in a long time, he felt a flicker of something other than despair. It was a glimmer of hope. From that night on, something inside Ethan shifted. He made a quiet decision. He was done chasing grades. He was done trying to fit into a box that was clearly the wrong shape for him. Instead, he was going to chase something else: growth. He stopped measuring his worth by the letters on a report card and started measuring it by what he could learn and what he could create. His parents' garage became his new classroom. It was dusty, cluttered with old tools and forgotten junk, but to Ethan, it was a sanctuary. He started spending his nights there, surrounded by the smell of oil and metal. He'd find old, discarded electronics, a broken radio, a defunct toaster, an ancient computer monitor, and take them apart piece by piece. He wasn't just deconstructing them. He was trying to understand them, to see how they worked from the inside out. His desk was no longer covered in textbooks he couldn't understand, but in circuit boards, wires, and screws. He became a voracious learner, but on his own terms. Instead of falling asleep in history class, he'd stay up late, watching hours of online videos about physics, engineering, and chemistry. He was fascinated by the way the world worked, not by dates and names he was forced to memorize. He began to experiment, building small, clumsy inventions from scraps he found around the garage. His first creations were disasters. A self-stirring mug that flung coffee across the room. A robotic arm that could only manage to twitch pathetically. He failed over and over and over again. But this time, failure felt different. It wasn't a judgment. It wasn't an F on a piece of paper. Each failure was a lesson. The coffee-flinging mug taught him about motor speeds and torque. The twitching arm taught him about electrical circuits and weight distribution. Every mistake was a clue, a piece of the puzzle. He wasn't just failing, he was learning, he was iterating, and with each attempt, he got a little bit better. The kid who once could unpass a simple algebra test was now teaching himself concepts far more complex. He wasn't just learning facts, he was learning how to think, how to problem solve, how to persevere. Slowly but surely, the world started to notice. It began with the local science fair. Ethan, the kid who was known for failing, entered a project he had built in his garage, a simple, homemade water purification system. No one expected much, but when he demonstrated how his device could turn murky, dirty water into clean, drinkable water, the judges were stunned. He won first place. For Ethan, the blue ribbon wasn't just a prize, it was validation. It was proof that his new path was the right one. That first win was a turning point. It gave him a taste of success, and it was intoxicating. He started entering more competitions, his projects becoming more ambitious, more refined. He was no longer the quiet, defeated boy on the bleachers. He walked with a new confidence. He spoke with a new passion. People who once dismissed him were now looking at him with a newfound respect. He was proving, to them and to himself, that relentless effort and a passion for learning could truly beat raw, uncultivated talent every single time. His journey was a testament to the idea that our greatest weaknesses can hide our greatest strengths. Years passed. The boy who failed his exams was now a man driven by a singular purpose. He went to college, not because he had to, but because he wanted to. He studied engineering, devouring information, and pushing the boundaries of what he could create. The late nights in the garage had prepared him for the rigors of university in a way high school never could. And then, one day, the kid everyone counted out stood on a world stage, dressed in a sharp suit, under the bright lights of a TED Talk. He was introduced not as Ethan, the failure, but as Dr. Ethan Miller, the brilliant innovator and humanitarian. He was the engineer who had taken his humble science fair project and scaled it into a world-changing technology. He had developed low-cost, highly effective water filters that were now being used in struggling communities across the globe, providing clean drinking water to millions and saving countless lives. He stood at the podium and shared his story. He spoke of the red Fs, the arguments, and the lonely night on the bleachers. He didn't hide his failures. He celebrated them. Failure, he told the captivated audience, isn't the opposite of success. It's a part of it. It's the messy, frustrating, and absolutely necessary stepping stone on the path to achieving anything worthwhile. His story wasn't just about building water filters. It was about building a life from the rubble of perceived failure. Ethan's journey is a powerful reminder for all of us. Society has a narrow definition of success, often measured by grades, titles, and promotions. But true success is about finding what sets your soul on fire and pursuing it with everything you've got. It's about embracing the process, the learning, the growth, especially when it's hard. So the next time life tells you you can't, the next time you're staring at your own version of a failing grade, remember Ethan. Look that challenge right in the eye and say, "Just watch me." Thank you so much for watching. If this story resonated with you, please hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more inspiring content. We'd love to hear about a time you turned a failure into a victory in the comments below. Until next time, keep chasing your growth.